Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Brighton podcast. It's your boy, Jamie G, and I'm joined by the famous trio, Joe Richardson, Blessings Chibamba, as we are here to assess and preview the Southampton vs Brighton game on a Friday night, prime time football on Sky, I think it is. Oh, what a game. You couldn't ask for two better teams, you know. It's a battle of the South Coast teams. We've dispatched of Bournemouth last week. And now we're ready to reign supreme over the South Coast against a team whose fate could not be more different to ours. They're struggling at the bottom of the table while we're mixing it up with the big boys in the Champions League. Joe, bless, how are we feeling ahead of the game tonight?
Mate, when you said we could ask for two better teams, we definitely could. We could definitely get another team that's probably better than Southampton.
We've got to pick them up a bit. Come on. They've had a tough season.
Do we? I don't know. I think that this one, when me and Bless went through the sort of Christmas time running games, I actually skipped the Bournemouth game first and went straight to this one and said, 3 points. So I'm actually expecting nothing less than 3 points, mate. I think it should be a pretty simple victory.
Bless, will you be fuming if we drop points against the likes of Saints?
Yeah, these are the type of games I've always been cautious to always mention that we do slip up when we are expected to win. These are the type of games. I think Saints will be up for it. I think we've just got to get an early goal and then get 5 or 6, please.
5 or 6, God, no resting. I actually think I agree. If we don't win this game, that is the biggest 3 points lost dropped all season. How do you kind of see the game going, Joe?
I am fully expecting them to come out and try and play their brand of football, the passing out from the back, sort of trying to break the lines, because they've shown so far this season that they're not scared really of the opposition. We saw it against Liverpool. They tried it. Obviously, they played themselves into trouble on numerous occasions, but I still expect to see it. They might potentially tweak it a little bit. So with obviously Paul, what's his last name again? He's got mentioned like 4 times in this podcast. It's outrageous. So with him being sort of that like outlet, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they did mix it up and go along a little bit. But they do seem pretty stubborn with the knocking it about and trying to build up. Never want to go long at all, not even hitting the balls into like channels for like wingers or anything like that. So, but I'm expecting maybe they're really like vulnerable on the counter press. So maybe just sort of pick it up after we've lost it again, try and win it back, hit them again, done. That's sort of what I want to see and what I'm expecting to see, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's crazy how stubborn they are in like playing out from the back, and just no matter what happens, they will constantly go to it. Even though they, like you said, they've got 6'7" striker. There are 0 long balls going to this striker. It could be quite an easy day for Van Hecker. Although I know Kanate and Van Dijk might have struggled last week, but it wasn't through like him really doing much. It was through their kind of giving them the ball. Bless, do you see the game kind of being the same way Joe does?
Yeah, I think in terms of their threats going forward, I think it's only Adam Armstrong and Tyler Diblin who's having a very good season. But apart from that, really, there's not much to be wary of. And I think if we just lock those two down, they haven't really got much. And again, they constantly just keep shooting themselves in the foot. I was watching that game against Liverpool and I was pulling my hair out. I could not believe it. Some of the things McCarthy was doing is absolute criminal. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, honestly, he gifted what felt like Liverpool win. In terms of the first one where he just throws it out quickly when there's about 7 Liverpool players in the box, and then the second one, the penalty could have easily been saved. He dived the right way, but yeah, I'm with you.
You can't criticise him for the pen.
The penny dived the right way.
How are you missing the one where he runs past the ball?
Yeah, I was actually trying to think of the goal. I'm glad you brought it up. The one where he runs onto the ball is crazy. What's he doing? What is he doing? That was all 3 of his fault. But yeah, you mentioned that they're a very much possession team earlier. They have, they're flirting with the Champions League places in that sense. They've got 55% possession, which is the 5th most in the league. God, he does not divert from the way he plays. And like you say, it constantly bites him in the arse.
I couldn't think of anything worse than supporting a team where you have all of the ball, but then they've only scored is it 9?
They've scored 9, which is
9 goals, and how many of them open play? Maybe 7, maybe. Let's just assume, because they obviously had. Oh no! Well, he missed a penalty, didn't he? So it technically counts as open play. So
yeah.
So I couldn't think of anything more boring than watching your team have all this possession but doing absolutely nothing with it. That's surely one of the worst genres of a football team that there possibly are. I'm not even I'm saying it from a sympathetic point of view. I'm not trying to cuss out Southampton as a team, but I'm just saying it can't be nice to sort of in the Liverpool game, I watched it as well. They were literally cheering when they went long. That's insane. As mental.
Yeah, no, the thing I would hate is having a manager that just refuses to change. We saw it with Burnley and company last season. The personnel clearly isn't good enough to play this style of football where they try and play out from the back, then they try and slowly go up the pitch being creative. It's not proving good for them. They're 7th, to your point, they're 17th in expected goals. So yeah, they have all the ball and do nothing with it quite often. But yeah, that would be the most infuriating thing for me to watch as a fan.
Yeah, and I just think the whole point of playing possession-based football is that you've got control of the game. It's all well and fun having 54% possession, but if you're going to give it away in your in the box numerous times in a game, they will eventually score. It's not rocket science.
Yeah,
and I think to your point as well, Jamie, the fact that he continues just to stick by that. And not necessarily you don't have to change it all, but at least mix it up so people don't know what to expect. On Friday, we know exactly what to expect. We know exactly what Brighton are going to do as well. We're going to be high up. So it's it's a recipe for disaster because you haven't got the personnel or the quality to do it. It's quite painful to watch. And I'm not even a Saints fan, but it's very painful.
As a neutral, yeah. In the next segment, we are going to be talking about how we can hurt them and who we think is going to shine in tonight's game.
Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
And we are back with the Daily Brighton podcast, and we are going to be talking about how we are going to hurt them. And I think Joe mentioned earlier on that we are probably going to have a lot of joy in the counter-press style of football. And Joe, speak about that, because you watched the Liverpool game and you've watched them a couple of times this season. They are dodgy on the ball. They gift chances. They are bad passes. They're constantly shooting themselves in the foot, like we said.
It's a bit of a mad one because in terms of in the Liverpool game, I know it's a small sample size, obviously, but I feel like we all watched it, right? We all watched that game.
Yeah.
So I feel like with that, they tried to put Flynn Downs in the 5. And I imagine that was in an attempt to sort of get the play going, and sort of get the transition from defense to midfield, work it through. And it just doesn't when there's so many mistakes in the back line, they were missing Bednarek, and I think it had a pretty big effect because when you're playing as that 5 and you know that, okay, as the 5 we're going to start moving the ball around and sort of trying to get the ball through midfield, and then it's disjointed and now you've got Flynn Downs in there who's by trade a midfielder, and then the only players that you can really probably properly trust are Matthias Fernandes, who looked really good against Liverpool, and also Tyler Diblin. Then you, as the opposition team, you know, like, okay, if we shut these passing lanes down and we give them absolutely nowhere to go, they're not going to hoof the ball. So eventually, they're going to have to literally either somehow play out past us, past the press, break the press, or they're going to give us the ball in the box. So, I mean, it sounds like out of all of the teams we've played this season, this podcast, this like sort of preview has been the easiest in terms of IDing what, especially a team that we don't watch very much. IDing that, like, this team is probably the easiest it's been because you know exactly, like Bless said, you know exactly what you're going to get.
Yeah, you are 100% right. Like you say, you can only, even if you only watch like match of the day and constant, like, I think I've watched Southampton, a full game of Southampton. They've been on TV like 3 times potentially.
Yeah, against Bournemouth.
You can see like kind of how they play just in those short games or in the short sample size, because they do that constantly, and then you watch the highlights and you just see the same thing over and over and over again. And I was actually speaking to Southampton lads the other day. One of them didn't seem to like mind that Russell Martin continues to go with this philosophy. But like you say, Bless, earlier, you said you'll be tearing your hair out. That's what I would be doing as well. I couldn't think of a worse or... he's got his philosophy, is what Zach was saying on the pod yesterday, and at least he's not changing and like not being half-hearted with anything. But it comes a point where we've said in the past with Hertzler, I hope he changes and doesn't be so stubborn. And I feel that's what Russell Martin needs to kind of learn because he is still a young manager. He needs to develop in that sense.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of like good things you can get out of in being consistent with your philosophy and your ideas. But and to be honest, I'd prefer a manager who has an identity and philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you've got to mix it up a bit. You've got to have a plan B, a plan C. I think you've got to be able to just tweak things and make it a bit different. And I know they go sometimes from a back 4 to a back 5, but like really and truly, their sort of approach to the game is always the same for them, and that's why they just keep getting caught. And I think one player I'm going to basically shout out for Friday, Jorginho Ruta. Watch him. I'm going to call at least 4 interceptions in Southampton's half because he just works so hard.
You added that slip already.
Yeah, that's straight on the bet builder, mate.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. If you love a bet builder, come here, listen closely.
I'm just going to quickly piggyback off what Bless has said, and also what you said, Gero, in terms of like talking about the managers like ID. I feel like it's quite. I'm not cussing this guy out. I don't know him, but to be like, oh, he has his philosophy and all that stuff. It's all good and well, mate, but like, it's not working. It's literally just not working. And I think Carragher said on the comms of the Liverpool game, I think he said like, you need to take into consideration like game state, and that is quite interesting because I feel like it's something that's forgotten. Game state, when you're changing what you're doing in the middle of the game, you're not changing your philosophy. You're adjusting it based on the context of what's happening. So, like, when you're squeezed in, okay, hit the 6'7" striker, right? If it doesn't come off and it comes back, it's fine. You're going to be able to play out from the back at some point. Their press isn't going to be perfect every time, right? It just doesn't work like that. So, like, okay, it's all good that he has an identity. Fine. Absolutely calm. We've all said before about Hertzler, we don't want him to change his identity. We just want him to tweak what's going on dependent on what's happening. And, like, you can't settle for that, like, mediocrity where it's like, oh, he's going to play out from the back. yes, we conceded however many goals from playing out from the back. Why would you settle for that as a fan? I don't get it.
Yeah. I think like that Carragher point, I heard him say that on commentary, and literally, I think like minutes later is when Alex McCarthy gave it away to Liverpool, and I was thinking, and then he was like shouting on the commentary booth, saying, "That's exactly what I mean." But yeah, I couldn't agree so much with what he said in terms of saying there's a time and a place to do things, and I actually think that works in ahead of our game against them tonight. That works in our favour. In sense, I think we can be much braver. Like, I would be so happy for us to try the classic Bruno Fernandes trying to play the outrageous pass or long ball or the through ball, just to, even if they do win it back, we have the players there ready to press, and then we know we can, like you say, bless Jorginho Ruta has the work rate to intercept them, and then we can punish them that way. So I would actually, this is where I would love to see us take risks. Really just do the difficult pass or not try and play it around as much. Don't be afraid to give the ball to them and then punish them that way.
Yeah, I think even without Baliba, I think we've still got way too much for them. I think it'll probably be Matt Swiffer, I'd imagine, who comes in.
No
But
Matt
yeah,
O'Reilly. Not yet.
All right. I reckon O'Reilly.
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see
O'Reilly, but I think we need a defensive minded because Ayari will probably stay in. So Matt Swiffer will come and sit. But yeah, I think I totally agree with you, Jamie. I think this is a good opportunity to get an early goal and really get at this team and put a marker down that we are, not cutting about these, man.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know whether Jack Hinchelwood is returning or not. It says doubtful at the moment. So I could see him as well starting, because I still don't think Hertzler believes in Matt Swiffer enough. Like, he's played Jakob Moder above him or brought him on ahead of him in a couple of games. So I think the belief just isn't there from him. But Joe, who do you? Because Bless has said, I think, Ruta as a man to watch. Who are you thinking of a man to watch yourself?
I'm sort of gonna go for João Pedro. I want him to really piggyback off that amazing performance. I've actually forgotten who we just played. Who did we just play? I literally was watching it.
Bournemouth.
Yeah. How have I forgot that? Yeah. So I want to see a performance similar to Bournemouth. I also want to see a performance that is similar to actually the way that Tottenham played against Man City. We're speaking about game state. They really, after they got the first goal, they really turned the knife, and I would like to see exactly the same from us. I think João Pedro could be the key to unlocking the defence. I don't even care if he necessarily scores, but I feel like he could easily get a return of some sort. Picking it up in areas where you don't want the defenders to be going in. Then Danny Welbeck moving players all over the shop, like just basically discombobulating them, man. And I want to see, like Bless said, an early goal, and then I want to see us put them to the sword. Like, I don't want to see one goal, respect them, sit back. I want to see one goal.
Oh yeah.
Let's make sure they can't ever recover from the goal difference sort of vibe is what I'm going for. But I think João Pedro is key to that, because sort of that creative, like that Hollywood, that creativity, the eye for a goal as well. Like, I think that's in games like this is where you want those players to really stand up and separate themselves from all of the other players on the pitch.
Yeah. 100%. And after this break, we'll be talking about our score predictions, as well as some players that they might have that we need to keep an eye on, as well as expand on some more points of how we think the game's going to go. This podcast is part of the Global Sports Podcast Network, the only network bringing you exclusive daily news and views on your Premier League team, the Premier League, women's football, and fantasy football. A unique listening experience that puts fans first, bringing you the very latest breaking news from your team. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and make us your first listen every day. Global Sports Podcast Network. Every club, every day. And we are back with the Daily Brighton podcast. And I think we did a bit of analysis on how we can damage them. I wanted to say one part I don't think we touched on before in the last segment is Mo Salah scored a brace in the last game against Southampton. And Mitoma's obviously scored in our last game against Bournemouth. Do you see him being a threat, Bless?
Yeah, no, I wanted to bring up Mitoma actually. I think, his speed and trickery is going to cause issues for whatever right back Southampton brings, and it would be really good. Again, we've been talking a lot about him on this pod, and we want him to kick on. I think this is a good opportunity to kick on because the right back, I think, is Sangura.
Carl Walker-Peters.
Carl Walker-Peters.
Yeah, whichever one of them two, I think Matoma's got the beating of, and I think, again, we want him to be direct and get assists, get a goal, and really kick on from that Bournemouth performance.
Yeah, 100%. That's actually who I thought maybe he could have a game. Because obviously they play at 3 at the back, which could leave whichever fullback or wing back kind of exposed one-on-one. I know they'll have the help of whichever centre-back is along that side. But, when you've got so many, like we said on the reaction pod, when you've got João Pedro that you need to monitor for, Ruta to monitor for, and you've got Danny Welbeck that will suck them into the midfield, then I think that could leave Carl Walker-Peters exposed, or Sangura, or whatever his name is. I know what
Sugawara, absolutely.
Sugawara.
We've been butchering his name.
Sugawara, when he came on, he had a howler and conceded a penalty, so he doesn't look that confident. It hasn't looked potentially great since he's been in. I can't say I watch a lot of Southampton, but yeah, I actually would love to see him kick on, like you say. But they've also got their own winger in Tyler Dibbling, who has, every time I've watched him, whether it's on match of the day, or whether it's highlights, or whether it's natural game, he is cooking this season, and I actually think he could be a threat.
I think that with Tyler Dibbling, because he picks the ball up in central positions quite a lot, likes to get on the half turn. I actually think this might be one of the. I see a lot of our fans saying like, if there's going to be a game that Belieber's going to miss, then it's like this game is sort of like it's a good thing that he's going to miss this game, and like I get it, but I think that we would benefit from having him in there and stopping. I basically want him to try to eat Tyler Dibbling, essentially. And he's not going to be there. And to be honest, I don't trust Matt Smith just as much as Hertzler does. Ayari gets about, but he could get twisted up by my man because he was twisting up the Liverpool players. So
yeah,
I just think that he's got such a tenacity about him. He's really strong, even though he looks like a bit of a fairy. And I think that if you stop him from getting on it, then obviously you're avoiding it. But also the other one in that sort of central area as well, Matías Fernandes, he also has a little bit about him as well. So it is just going to sort of be about stopping them getting on it because they are the ones that can create for them. So I'm not really massively worried about Adam Armstrong. I don't think anyone should really be worried about Adam Armstrong. But I think those two are the Matías Fernandes and Tyler Dibbling are the ones that you have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think Tyler Dibbling had a run, and he's done it basically all season, I think, for them. He's like been their only shining light. But he had a run against Liverpool where he got it past one, and then they tried crowding him, and then he had like the strength you kind of talk about to kind of hold them off, weave past them with like a futsal-esque kind of skill or close control, and then managed. I think that's actually what came to the penalty that they conceded, was him duking them out, or like at the end of that run, knocking it past Robertson to get that penalty. So yeah, I think that is actually somewhere, especially against Estepinian. We know how kind of rash Estepinian can be, and we know how much he's struggled against very good wingers in the past. That's somewhere I actually do worry. Don't know whether you're nodding your head, Bless. Do you agree?
Yeah, that's definitely an area of concern because, that Tyler Diblin's definitely got a couple of tricks up his sleeves. And if Estepinian's continuing just jumping in and not sort of judging it, then yeah, we could be in trouble. But I'll take you back to the first half at Liverpool at Anfield. I think Estepinian was fairly aggressive with Salah and dealt with him quite well. I think it's going to need a performance like that, obviously without switching off and letting Salah cut in. But
yeah,
without letting him score.
20 minutes.
Yeah, but that sort of 45 minutes of being really aggressive and not letting him turn, just following him wherever he goes,
kicking him, obviously.
Kick him a little bit, let him know where he is.
Kick him a lot of bit.
A lot of it, but don't get sent off.
No, don't get sent off, not again.
Because he's the type of player to see getting sent off.
Yeah, stupid lad loves it, mate. To be honest, I don't think he's going to be cutting in those ends. Oh, that was a bit too road. I don't think he'll be in those areas very much. Because
the code switching is mad.
I don't think he really will be picking up in those areas very much, because he does seem to. He obviously starts out wide, but it's almost like a right midfielder position when he's picking the ball up, and then his runs seem to always be. Is he left-footed or something? Yeah. So he's obviously coming into his left foot, but he's sort of like he's central before he even gets to the edge of the box most of the time. So maybe Igor should kick him, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's mainly because he's probably one of their most technical players, and they've realised if we're going to get a player who's actually going to affect the game in the final third, he needs to come inside a bit more.
Yeah.
But apart from that, you mentioned Matthias Fernandes, decent, but they're quite easy to lock off if we just deal with this Dibbling lad.
The thing is, they've got a very young squad, don't they? I mean, Dibbling's 18, Matthias Fernandes is 20, and then those are their two best players. I was about to say they've got a very young squad.
What about Harwood-Bellis? He's young, isn't he?
Adam Armstrong, I don't think he's young.
No, Tyler Harwood-Bellis, you melon.
Yeah. But I was saying, I'm looking at their lineup now. I started off really strongly by going, they're really young. And then as I looked, I saw Lallana, I saw Armstrong, and I thought, actually, no, I'm completely wrong there.
What about Matey? What's Matey's name?
Onuachu?
No, Ugachukwu, mate, from Chelsea.
Oh, yeah, he's young, yeah. And Flynn Downs, I think he's 25. Never mind, it looks young.
Flynn Downs is 25?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
He has been around for a bit. And then Carl Walker-Peters, he's been around for time as well. But I think their best players are young.
Carl Walker-Peters being 26 is so woke, mate. What was going on? What was actually going on, mate? Oh, he's the same age as me, mate.
What I was going to ask, back on Tyler Dibbling, what are our thoughts on his shin pads? How low he wears his socks? Have you seen that?
No.
I can't trust anyone who gets homesick by moving to London from Southampton. That's insane.
He wears his socks so low. He literally doesn't wear shin pads.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that. That's what I do. I don't have them above my calf.
Right.
I wish I never asked.
Yeah, get the outro going, mate.
We'll cut that bit out.
Before we do the outro, we need to score predictions. What we saying, Joe?
Let's go first this time.
I am going to go 3-1 Brighton. Jorginho Ruta, 4 interceptions in the final third.
Danny Welbeck knee slide or not?
Danny Welbeck header and knee slide, sorry.
Header and knee slide, right. I'm going to go for 3-0 Brighton. I'm going to go for João Pedro, 1 goal, 1 assist, Matoma, 1 goal, and Danny Welbeck tap-in knee slide.
I'm going to go with 3-0 as well. I'm going to say Matoma.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Pedro, and I'm going to say Ruta. And not going to say who assists who.
No knee slides?
No love for Danny Welbeck?
Sorry, Danny Welbeck.
Where's the knee slides?
At the end of the game.
Okay, sweet, yeah.
Danny Welbeck knee slide in front of the fans.
Danny Welbeck top off knee slide.
Even though he didn't score.
Just had a great day. And on that note, it is time to end. We hope you've enjoyed this preview of Southampton versus Brighton, and we hope we get all 3 points tonight. So, tune in next time, like, follow, and share do whatever. See you later.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.